Hi, this is a late night video to answer this question that I have here on the screen that one of our community members has asked. It's about the accounts, the products related list on accounts that it's not getting filled. This user, Joanna, expects the list to be auto populated, I suppose, with the records that are on the offers. I suppose those are quotes. Uh, but normally it would be the invoices would be more like it. Let's start by logging in and have a look at that list because that list is actually a functional related list. One of the few functional related lists that we have in the application. So here I have an account. Let's find an account that has no products. Okay, no products and no services. Okay, good. So this Satpoli Inc. has no products and no services related. If we go and we open, uh, let's leave that one here. Let's do this one. And we open an offer quote, for example, and I create a new quote. This is a new one, and we relate that to that organization. And I'm going to add here a product, a protective case, and a service. And this one. Okay, and prices and the rest I don't care at all about. If we save this now and I reload this page, the products and the services list are effectively empty. Despite having offered this to this person, if we create an invoice from this quote, now I have an invoice because I would actually expect those lists to be populated from an invoice more than a quote because this is it, the actual sale of those products and services. If we save this, that those two related lists are still empty because the application doesn't do that. What's curious here, or what's important, is that if I do go to this list and I select uh, the sexy leggings, for example. And okay, so now I manually have related that product there. And if I X the night out at the movies and we do the service here, now if I create an invoice, I don't know if that happens also on the quote. If I create a quote, I get all of the products. Good. Okay. And if we add a service, I get all of the services. Okay, as you can see. But if we go to the invoice and we create a new invoice. No, wait, I actually did that wrong. Sorry. Let's do that again. I create a new quote. I select that organization, that same one where I have manually related one product and one service, and we open this. It does. Okay, good. So basically, what's happening here is that that related list actually has functionality. It is restricting the selection of products and services depending on the products and services that are in those related lists. Let's try with the service, make sure that that also works. If I open this, okay, services is not filtered. That's probably wrong, but okay. Anyway, the products do, which is what I actually had in mind. Let me write that down because I'm not actually sure that that shouldn't be the way that we should. It should be the same in products and services, the same filter. Okay, what is the logic about that? The logic is that when I sell products to a client, the usual behavior is that that client will call me again and will ask me for the same products. So when I go to create the invoice, it's nice to have them filtered as those products that I have sold to this client before. The application also gives us a way of doing that easily because we can duplicate the invoice or the quote and just kind of filter out the records you want, which is probably even easier then selecting the product again. Uh, but I mean, okay, it's how it works. This is an interesting function, a totally valid use case. And okay, one other comment is that you do have the show all products button. So if the filtered list here is the product you're looking for is not in the list, you just have to click on the show all products and you will get the normal list. So that's okay. And I suppose that if we do this, the manual, this is sexy ligands. So if I start typing here protective, yeah, I get them all. So I mean that doesn't, it's not, again, it's a normal filter. Okay, so the question is, since it's a valid request, why doesn't the application just do that by default? Well, I don't know actually why. We just never got around to doing that, or nobody ever asked for it. We could actually add a global variable for that and have it, easily activated or deactivated depending on the global variable. That's actually not a bad idea. Maybe something that could be done, but it can be done with workflows also. So I'm going to show you here how to do that with the workflow and what that would entail. So basically, the the what we want to do is that we want to set the related list from a workflow when we save these lines. These lines, these uh, inventory lines, these product and service lines that are here, are actually inventory details. So I'm saving the invoice or the quote, doesn't matter. But what's happening is that the event that I want to capture, that I want to work on, is when this particular row of the product or the service is being saved. Because that's when I will have the organization that I want to relate the product and service with, and the product or service that I need. Okay. So every quote and invoice and purchase order and sales order have as many inventory detail lines as product or lines that are rows are here. So for example, if we go to that last quote that I created here, this one, this new one, and we go into the inventory details, we will see that we have those two records that I just created. Those two rows that I just filled in, because each row is actually a record in the inventory detail module. As you can see, I have the product, and the other one is related to the assisted living. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this relation here and delete this relation here. Okay, so now I'm back to where I was. The Satpoli Inc. Organization has no related objects here. And I'm going to go to the inventory details module. And I'm going to click on the workflows. Here, this would take me directly to the workflows for inventory details. We could also come up here and go to application settings and do the workflows. Okay, this is obviously a totally different view than what you have probably in the CoreBoss open source version. But anyway, the functionality should be the same and it's there. I'm looking for inventory detail workflows. I'm going to edit this one. No, no, let's create a new one. Probably better and easier to understand. I'm going to create a new workflow, which would be add product service to accounts. And I want that to be done on every save. Ooh, because we're going in. Okay. Okay. Nice. We broke that at some point here. Uh, okay. Let's go back here and let's do this one. Okay. I'm going to just benefit from this one and use this one. This one is on every save. These fields are updated. So we're going to add a new task, which is the set many-to-many relation task, many-to-many relation task, because this is the task that will relate, will add relations between two modules, two records actually. So if we create this one and we put here relate product service, for example, and here we have, if we want to add the relation, if we want to delete the relation, or if we want to delete all of the relations. And then it says here, okay, in this case, I'm saving inventory details. So it already knows what record it wants to work with, which is the inventory detail record that's being saved. And then it says, okay, what do you want to relate with that record? And I can select from the list of related entities that that module has. This module doesn't have any, actually. Inventory details does not have any related records, related list. So since it's a many-to-many relation, you can't actually select any. So how are we going to use this workflow task if we can't set the account and the product or service that we want to relate with? Well, that comes in handy here. We have these variables, set many-to-many relation records and set many-to-many relation record without without the plural. Okay, the idea is that if I set these variables, then this workflow task will read the values that it has to relate from these variables instead of operating on the record that's triggering the workflow and relating with the ones that I have picked here. So we have to set these two variables. Okay, I'm gonna copy this one, and we're gonna go. Once these variables are set, it doesn't matter at all what record is triggering this workflow task or what records I have selected here. It doesn't matter. They're not going to be used. They're only going to be used the values that are set in the variables. What is going to be used is what we're going to do with that. So it will relate or delete the relation, unrelate them, depending on what I select here. I want to relate them. So I'm going to pick add here and leave the rest empty. Okay, now we have to go and we have to add a task to fill in those variables. That's an execute expression. Execute expression is a workflow task that permits us to execute any expression that we can construct in the workflow language and set relation variables and save those expressions, the evaluation of those expressions into a variable. So it's exactly what we're looking for. I'm going to create two variables. One variable name is going to be set many-to-many relation records with a plural, and the other is going to be set many-to-many relation record with singular. That means that I'm going to relate this record with these records. Okay, so this one with as many as I want here. In this case, I just want one-to-one. I am saving an inventory detail. I'm saving one row in the invoice. That row has one account because it's coming from the invoice and one product or service. So it's just a one-on-one thing. But I could relate one with many. Okay, and let's see the expression. Let's do the singular first, as that's well, actually the order is irrelevant. But anyway, I'm going to get the account for the first one. So I come here to the field, and here I have the list of fields, sorry, on the inventory details. I'm looking for this organization. If I select the organization here, what the application does is that it calculates the name, which is not what I want. Let's see that. I'm going to click on this evaluate selection button. That will show me the list of inventory detail records. I'm going to go to the end and get these two, which are the ones that I created. These are the ones for the quote, and these are the ones for the invoice. I'm going to get this one. Doesn't really matter much. Okay, I'm going to get this one. And so I'm saying, in as if I was executing this workflow with this record, I want to see what this variable is going to give me back. So I click on the evaluate, and you see that it gives me the name. It's not, I don't need the name in this case. I want the ID of that record. So this is not the value that we're looking for. So I have to scroll down, and here you see that it says, okay, once we have all of the fields uh, of the inventory detail module, it starts giving me the related fields. Okay, I can go to the assign to, and I can get all of the fields of the users. I have the products, and I can get, because the inventory details is related with the products. The product can actually be a product or a service, so I have all of the product fields. And then I have all of the service fields, you can see here. Then I have the related to, which can be a quote, a purchase order, sales order, and or rather an invoice. That's not what I'm looking for. And here comes the organization. Okay, the organization says that I have an access to all of the fields of the organizations, and I want the ID, which is not here. That's actually uh, an error, or a lacking more than an error. Uh, it should be here. And in fact, Gilda, if you're listening or watching, we should add that to our to-do list. There's the ID field here should be here, just like it is in the inventory details. If you see up here and the inventory details, I do have that inventory details ID. I should have also the IDs on the related objects. Anyway, there's a little trick to do that. You select any field that you want, doesn't matter. It gives you the structure. And here, it's actually giving you the field that I selected. So it's telling me, okay, get the account ID, which is on the inventory details. It's pointing to the accounts module, and go there and get me the website. Instead of the website, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to put ID. And this will give me the ID it works. Even if you can't select it in the list, it works. So if I evaluate now, I'm going to get that 1178, which is exactly this 78, which is that record. Correct. Okay, so this field and this syntax is going to give me the ID that I want to relate, the account I want to relate with the product or the service. And I'm putting that in this set many-to-many relation, which is the one that is going to be read by the workflow, many-to-many workflow task. The other expression is very similar, same idea. We get the field, and we go to the products, and I get any product that I want, and I change. I got the same one twice. And I change that. Okay, and so now basically, if I save this, if we evaluate also, if I get the product and I save, and now what's going to happen is that when I do save that that quote again, or that invoice, it will relate. It will trigger this workflow on the inventory detail when that row is saved, and it will load the account into the set many-to-many relation record and the product ID into the set many-to-many relation records, two variables which will be read by the workflow, many-to-many workflow task, and the relation should be established. Okay, now before I continue, this should work, but there's a problem here. The problem is that if we go to the inventory details module and we load one of those records, this one for example, we see here that we have that organization related to the set and the product, which is the product on that one. If I edit this, we see that this record, this field, so this product field can actually be related to a product or to a service, exactly as the rows in the quote product lines. They can actually, I can select the product or I can select the service. So if the line that's being saved is a service, this workflow that we clicked here is going to fail, because this is going to it's going to be empty. In fact, if instead of getting this 4628, which is a product, I get 4629, which is assisted living, which is a service, and I try to evaluate this product, I get an empty value because it's this record is related to a service. So I have to do an if here. If the inventory detail product is a product, then I want the product ID. And if it's a service, I want the service ID. It's always going to be one or the other. So we could do an if that should work. I mean, if we do something like if product ID if equals 0 or is different than 0, I guess that should work. Then I want the product. and else I want the service. Let's select the service actually so that I get the right name. Services, okay, and this is the ID, and this is an end. Okay, so basically I'm saying if the product ID as a product, go and search for the product, and you find it, then use it, and if not, then go for the service because it's going to be that. Note that this should work actually. Note that this is an expression, it's not a field anymore, so I have to change this field to expression or else it will fail also. So I copied it before, pasted because I knew it was going to empty the list out. This should work, but I'm going to be a little bit more fancy, and I'm going to use here in the functions, we have a function which is coalesce, this one. Coalesce returns the first non-empty value found in a list of parameters. So that's exactly the functionality I want. So I'm going to select this one. We're going to get this product's ID here. Put that in the A. We're going to get services from here and put that in B. And I'm going to get rid of this if, which should have worked also. Okay, so coalesce is going to give me the first non-empty value, so it's going to do exactly what the if was doing. If this product ID returns something that's not empty, then it will return that one. And if it is empty, because it's related, the inventory detail record is related to the service, it will give me the service. If I evaluate this now, I get 26972, which is uh, the service product, the service in product inventory detail line, and this one, if I do this one, I get the 14269. Okay, so basically, I'm getting the right one here each time. Okay, I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that. And now comes one last trick, one last important thing. The order in which these tasks are executed is important. If I set the related variables after executing the relation, then the variables are not set. When this related to related task that's actually going to search for those variables is executed, the variables are not set because they're executed in the third step, not in the in there. So I have to move this one up. And so I set the variables and then I execute this one so it will find. Okay, let's save that. Okay, and let's come here to that quote again. This is the organization. This is still empty. Okay, the products and the services are empty. And if we come here to the quotes and we get that quote, this one here, and I just have to edit and save to get so that the inventory detail lines are saved again and the workflow is triggered. And now if I load this, I have the service and the product related. Okay, so basically, the related list is functionally important in the application. It will filter automatically the products related to the account that you select. So it kind of helps you select again those products that you have already sold. But the filling in of that list is manual. So you have to do it by yourself. Uh, but you can create a workflow that basically does this set related list, this assignment of values to these two variables, okay, with this text and this one. I'll I'll put these in the I'll answer here as soon as I get the video. I'll answer here and I'll put those texts there so that you can copy paste them in, and then you can do the many to many relation, which basically is empty, just has this add relation because it's actually reading the variables from here. Uh, and that's about all you need to do. It should work. I mean, it worked here. Evolutivo, which is the application I have here, is a lot more advanced than Corbos, but still it should work in a Corbos, in a normal Corbos you can download from GitHub. Well, I hope that helps. Let me know how it looks.